Hey, buddy.
Good morning, buddy Ola. All right. So live from the spa here at Vanderbilt University.
Spa.
As requested by our Talk Tennis peeps out there in the Talk Tennis world, we have a very special guest. This is Coach Jeff McDonald, ITA Coach of the Year, if I remember correctly.
That's correct, yeah.
Head coach of the Division I National Champion Vanderbilt Commodores. So we thought, and you ask, we deliver, we thought who better to give us a little commentary on the role of equipment. And so we thought we'd cover a couple of things, Jeff. First, we thought we might ask about what equipment you used when you were on the tour. That's not been so long ago. It seems like yesterday.
Pretty long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then second, just what equipment you feel like, what role equipment actually plays in developing a player's game. And lastly, what you would see as the most important aspect of equipment. Would it be the frame? Would it be the string? Would it be apparel or shoes? All of which are important at some level.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start with what you used while on the tour.
Well, first of all, thanks for inviting me on your show. I used the Prince Graphite, which was, at the time, almost a revolutionary frame. I started out with the Prince Pro, and the graphite was easier on my arm. I also tinkered a lot with grip size and had a lot of success moving a 4 5/8 up with 2 turn of grips to make it probably bigger than a 4 3/4. And I felt that took out some excessive wrist and just really helped me to play. There's been a revolution in technology in tennis. The frame is of course huge. I think you could make a case that one of the most valuable people on your staff now is the stringer. And we have an exceptionally good stringer, Scott Joslin, pro level stringer here at Vanderbilt. And he's just so knowledgeable about this would help, or if this player's wrist or elbow or shoulder is getting fired up, let's switch her to this string. He's in touch with the players, talking about it. Also, your friend Jeff Brown has done some weighting to get frames all alike, and it's really a huge part of the game now. Shoes too. You've got to be very careful not to switch shoes without. If you develop some foot pain, often changing shoes, changing surfaces, or both can set off a stress reaction in the feet. There's so much knowledge now, and you just have to be really smart, and there are so many options that can help a player.
That's really helpful, and I love that you mentioned the role of customization, because this is a hot topic on Talk Tennis. People discuss quite a bit customization, but the thing that I heard you mention, Jeff, was that your players are really looking to have every racket be exactly the same.
Yes.
And that's the role that the customization team here at Vanderbilt really plays, if I understand correctly.
Exactly. You don't want that to even be an issue. You want it to be a strength and never a weakness, because it's something within your control, which is a lot of what you do in coaching. Is you think about what you can actually control, conditioning, etc. Certainly equipment, certainly training, but then teaching the players you're not in control of this, but this is the best way to look at it. But certainly we want to have our technique state-of-the-art, pro-level equipment.
And we've seen that. I've witnessed in the many years I've known you, I've witnessed a migration in that direction, an awareness. Like you said, the knowledge base seems to have grown tremendously over time. And I think we saw, maybe back in our day, we saw Lendl and a few others start to really think in greater depth. I know Becker had a racket customizer on his team. Uli Kunal, I believe was his name. Uli Kunal. So I guess last and certainly not least, the one question that comes up a lot on Talk Tennis is just how important is the equipment? So obviously you mentioned the evolution that's happened in the availability of perhaps more powerful, forgiving frames that are both helpful to the game but safe on the arm, the important role that the customization team plays. But the equipment itself, the racket, the string, which would say is more important, racket or strings?
I think right now, strings have been the biggest game changer. Rackets, both are very personal feel decisions, and then you've got to weigh that with one's tendency to get an injury, and you're just always balancing that out. But I think it's the rackets. We had graphite rackets in the 80s, but the new strings have just changed the shape of the ball, the amount of spin you can hit, the amount of power you can generate. That's been the biggest change.
That's been my impression, that the polyester string in particular. And now, as a coach, I know you work with a lot of players at different levels, and it's not exclusively elite players that you coach. One of the questions that comes up is polyester string the right string for everyone?
No, it's not.
What are your thoughts about choosing a string, since you feel that is maybe that is the biggest change is in the string? So what are your thoughts about maybe a beginning, intermediate, or maybe even an advanced player a little bit below the Vanderbilt Commodore level? What kind of string conversations would you have with one of those players that you're coaching?
If a beginner doesn't need that yet. They need an adequate, serviceable, good string. But Luxilon, I mean, just all the different things, no, not yet. I think, as I said, your stringer, your racket technician, if you will, is someone who becomes part of your team as you become a better player. And Scott Jocelyn has an office right next door, and it's busy. There are people coming in who aren't elite players. They're just very good, serious players who are maybe from the 4.0 to 5.5 level. Again, accomplished but not quite world class. And they're all about the strings and what do I need, and restring this. This is too loose. So I think the passionate amateur has discovered the universe of string.
This is tremendously helpful, Jeff. We really appreciate you taking time out. It's ITA kickoff weekend.
That's right.
We're here in the spa, Jeff's office, and he's taking time out to answer questions from people out there in the stratosphere of talk tennis. So
my pleasure.
We appreciate your time as always, and looking for another great season.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks so much.
Thank you.